I'd like to welcome back to the show Andrew from the Level Up Network. He's a friend of the podcast. He's been here before. You all know him. Andrew, thank you so much for being on the show with us again.
No problem, Dave. It's awesome to be here again. And it's been a while, but we've kept in contact, and it's really cool. Like we've had like certain big milestones happen since the last time I was on the show. We both passed 200. We talked about that. You guys just announced that you're doing like a broadcasting thing on Twitch 24/7.
Yes.
You're talking to me about that. So just a lot of cool things have happened. I'm really happy for you guys, and I'm excited to be here again to talk.
No, absolutely. And something exciting that is happening with you is you have announced that you are planning to go full-time streaming. You're making the jump. And that's actually why I wanted to have you on the show, because we have a lot of people in the community who always ask about tips about streaming and stuff like that. So I thought, well, who better? Let's talk to the man who's in there. He's making the sausage. He's going through it right now.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that announcement. And
it's a nerve-wracking thing, right? It's like, when do you take the leap? Because it's a big deal, especially if you're in the situation I'm in. Like I have a wife, I have a child, I have a full-time job currently. I'm an architect right now, and I work 40 hours a week, and then I jump on really late at night to get my streaming in, because that's really the only way that I can do it. And you see that on Twitch a lot. Like this is what people do. They have to try and find the time that works for them and hope that they can, with that schedule, break through to a certain audience. And I would say in the last year especially, I decided, okay, like I did talk shows for 4+ years. At that time it was 3+ years. And I was like, I need to start getting into the variety game streaming. I need to start building a community more than ever. And really, like I decided, like I'm going to go harder at this than I ever have before. Like a year ago, I decided, because in my head I knew I'm getting close to that time now where it's do or die. Like if I'm ever going to go full time, it needs to happen relatively soon.
Sure.
So the cog started turning about a year ago, and I knew I was kind of leading up to it. And I had to have a long discussion with my wife, of course, because this is about me quitting my current job and trying to make a full-time career out of streaming on Twitch, something that it's not easy. I mean, let's be honest, it's not an easy thing to do. It's great to do for fun, but to do it as a full-time career is a stressful thing. But I knew, like, this is, since I started it's taken over my life. Like it makes me happier than any other activity I've ever done. It really has become such a big deal for me, and it's changed me as a person, and I've become more outgoing, and I feel like I've met so many amazing people through Twitch, and I feel like I owe it to them and myself to try and at least go for it, right? So as you said, I announced it, and I needed to do it the right way, though. So I decided I can't just quit cold turkey and have no backup funds or anything, and just and go into this thing, especially with a wife and kid. And I talked to you about this, actually. You were one of the few people that I needed to kind of pick your brain a little bit, because I know you're in the same situation. Like, this is the dream to go full time. Like, how do I do this? And I talked to you, I talked with a few other streamers, and they all kind of said, like, if you're going to do it, you have to do it. Like, you stop waiting. And I was like, yeah, you're right, but I want to do it the right way. So I talked with Chris, and we decided we're going to raise money for a little while. We're calling like a full-time streaming fund, and we announced it live on the show, and it blew up. Like, it's been unbelievable ever since we announced it. Not even 2 months ago, we've got $3,500 in the bank already just for this full-time streaming fund, so that when I officially go, I have a blanket, I've got a security fund, I've got money to pull away from and really dedicate, because I want to give it at least a full year, right? I want to be able to really go for it for a full year and be like, I gave it my all. Let's see what happens. So I couldn't be more grateful of my community and what they've done for the channel. And I'm so excited for I can finally get there, because I'm taking this time that I'm also raising money to think about, like, what am I going to do? How am I going to be different? How am I going to make this a success? And that's almost just as exciting as the idea of going full time is the brainstorming and figuring out the creative routes you can go with something like this. And I'm sure you experience the same thing.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the challenge, right, of trying to figure out how to make it successful. I have to say, I can't be more excited for you. I am super excited for your success, and to see you go full time, and to see the end result, and how it all works out for you. So let's take a step back. Because a lot of people in the community who are streaming or who are thinking about this, they're at the very beginning. So why don't we talk a little bit about how you got started, and maybe just share some advice and some experiences that someone just starting out might benefit from.
Sure. Okay. So where we started, and I might have shared this before on the show, but it's kind of unique, actually. I think not a lot of other streamers started out this way. A lot of them started back on Justin TV, or they started, especially in the last year or two, I would say.
Yeah.
You've really seen an explosion on Twitch and on Mixer as well in the last year or two. But I didn't know about Twitch 4 years ago. I had no idea what it was. It wasn't until the PS4 released that I found out about this whole idea of streaming on the internet. And even at that time, I wanted to do something like this. I was doing podcasts with Mike, my buddy, who still does a show with me. But it was like, how do you break through? Like, we put our stuff on iTunes, but who's going to see it? Like, we can put it on Facebook and this and that. And nobody will listen to it. We were just doing it for ourselves at that point. And then PS4 released, and I saw the Playroom, which was this weird, quirky AR studio where you could, play with things in AR, but you could broadcast it. And I saw Twitch, and I saw you could do this, and we went live on PlayStation. This was me and my fiance at the time, now my wife, Kristen, of course. And for some reason, I think it was because it was that first week, right? The PS4 just released, and it was this weird thing, like, what the hell is the Playroom? What are people doing on this? We hit 750 viewers on the first night. Wow. And I'll be honest with you, I haven't hit 750 viewers since then, besides when we were on the front page. Sure. Recently, when we had that partner spotlight, we hit 2,000. But other than that, we had never hit 750 since then. Like, so it was this weird lightning in a bottle moment, but it was like the spark that set it off, where I called up Mike instantly, and I was like, this is it. This is the avenue we need to take if we're going to get any attention at all. And that's how the Level Up Show was born. So thinking back to that, I think one of the best things you can do, maybe even before you start, is figure out, what am I going to do that's going to separate me from the hundreds of thousands? I don't even know anymore at this point. I don't even know how many streamers are on Twitch, but it's saturated, and it becomes more and more saturated every day, especially now that they've started affiliation and allowing people to earn money at a much lower viewer threshold. Mm-hmm. People are jumping on. They're realizing, oh, this is a way that not only can I have a good time, but I can make a little bit of money. I can do it on the side. So you're just seeing a huge influx of people jumping onto Twitch right now. And I think if you're going to be somebody that wants to more than just stream as a hobby, you need to think, how am I going to differentiate myself from the rest? How am I going to form a community around that? Which I think is really important.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Good stuff. So then that early on, you had a bunch of success. The spark was lit. You go on and you start to stream consistently. You have your podcast, your show, the whole nine yards. As you grew and as you built an audience, what changed?
I think it's really hard at the beginning, because you are, I think for a lot of people, you're streaming to 1, 2, 3 people. And a lot of times those people are lurkers, and they're not commenting, they're not talking to you. And you feel like, what am I doing here? And it takes a little bit of time. But then suddenly one person starts chatting, and that person sticks around, and then 2 people. And then there's people start talking to each other and to you. And then it's 5 people, and then it becomes this group, and it starts to grow. And you realize, I'm building a community. Like, I'm actually forming something that is around my channel, something that's dedicated to this channel, and friendships form. And that's where the change really starts to happen. When you can get to that point where people are coming back, not for the games that you're playing, but that are coming back for not only you as a streamer, but for the other people that are also in the chat with you. When this community starts to form, that is when you're doing things right. And that's when the change starts to happen. Like, so that's what it takes a little bit of time to get there. And I think that's one of the hard things. And I can tell that to people streaming, like, push through it. It's going to be tough at the beginning, because you're going to think that nobody's watching you, and people are. Sometimes there might be 1 or 2 people. They're just quietly watching you. A lot of people like to lurk. You have to kind of just push through that tough spot at the beginning, and wait for the couple people to come in and start chatting, because then other people chat with them, and that it's awesome once you start seeing that pick up, and you're going to feel your morale raise, and you're going to realize, oh, I can do this. I can make this into a thing. I can make a community out of this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that success, at least you could tell me if I'm wrong, but how we experience it is that success is exponential. It like, once you hit that first milestone, the second milestone comes easy peasy. I mean, not easy peasy, but I mean, it comes a lot easier than that first one.
There's a little bit of luck involved, right? Sometimes I think it'll depend a lot on what games you're playing. I will say that not a lot of people want to do this, but choosing one game And trying to build a community around that game can be easier than trying to build a community around you as a streamer
Yeah.
and the other people in your community. Because
Yeah.
if you stick with one game, that's another avenue that the community is forming around, right?
Yeah.
But then the issue is, and I think you can talk. I've talked to a lot of streamers about this. I can't do that. I'm not going to be the person that streams one game. For one, I like games too much. I don't want to. I don't want to play one game or one franchise or one genre my entire streaming career. So I started from the very beginning. I'm going to be a variety streamer. But I've talked with the guys that do one game, and I asked them like, "Do you ever get tired of it?" And they said, "Yeah, man. I honestly I do. Like I play one game all the time. Obviously, I'm getting tired of it. But if I go and I play something else, my viewers drop 50%, 75%, just like that. So that's a little bit of a caution there. Something you might want to think about if you're thinking of streaming. If you want to go that route and trying to build a community around one singular game, it could definitely work out for you. It works out very often, especially if you are Dr. Disrespect or you're Ninja and you are right there on the cusp of a game rising. It's no coincidence that Dr. Disrespect rose to fame right when PUBG released. It's no coincidence that Ninja, who streamed for 7 years, suddenly skyrocketed when he streamed with Fortnite. It's because those guys rose with those games. They already were amazing streamers, but they rose to huge success because they channeled themselves along with the rise of a game. And that's where the luck comes in. Like, how do you know what game is going to do that? And you can try and calculate that because you can guess it sometimes. You can try and predict it, but that's where the luck comes in a little bit. But you need to decide, like, do I want to be a singular streamer or do I want to be a variety streamer and go and make it a little bit more difficult on myself, but be able to, play around in a lot of different areas.
Yeah. So as a variety streamer, how have you handled that? Because I've experienced the same thing. It's much more difficult. And a word of caution to those of you who are out there thinking, all right, I will just play Madden or I will just play this one game. It's not just you. There's two types of streamers, in my opinion. And again, Andrew, you could correct me if I'm wrong here. You're really good at streaming and you're entertaining and you have got this great personality, or you are incredibly good at that one single game that you're playing. And so if you're going to play a single game, you've got to have the personality or you've got to be great at the game. And someone like Ninja who has both, you just take off and run.
Exactly what I was going to say. The best case scenario is you have both, because that's what we saw with Dr. Disrespect and Ninja. Dr. Disrespect, amazing personality. I mean, the guy is entertaining as hell. And on top of that, if you watch him play PUBG, he's damn good at the game.
Yeah.
And if you watch Ninja, oh my God. Like I've been watching him recently and I didn't know about this guy until maybe a month ago. I watched him play Fortnite, which I am absolutely terrible at. I am so awful at Fortnite. And I was just blown away by the way he's building this fort and also creating barriers between himself and the enemy in just this dynamic way and so quick, and the way his mind works. And on top of that, while he's doing this, he's also explaining to his community how they can learn from him. And that's what was really cool to me about it, is he's not only amazing at this game, he can take his eyes off somehow and still look at the chat, see what people are asking him, and answer questions and instruct people on how they can be better at the game at the same time. Yeah, that's the magic sauce right there. Like, if you can figure out the way to be that big of a streamer and have that many people talking to you, be good at the game, and also pay attention to your community and make them feel like they are being listened to, that's the gravy right there. That's what you need to find.
No, absolutely. Well, I mean, that's next level stuff.
Yeah, it takes a little while to get there because you're gonna be it's multitasking for sure. And there's some guys that get lost in the game, and that's fine sometimes. Some people actually like that. They like watching a guy who's just gonna focus on the game. But I will say most people go on Twitch because they want to interact with the streamer. If you don't want to interact with the guy, you watch him on YouTube. Twitch, Mixer, it's about interactivity. It's about talking with a streamer and forming a relationship with the community around that as well. So I think it's very important, if you're going to be a streamer, to focus on the chat. For me, I kind of have like a 50-50 rule. I do not want to take myself away from the chat more than 50% of the time. I feel like if I do that, I'm doing a disservice to the people that are watching me, and they're not getting my attention. They deserve my attention. They're there. They're tipping. They're subbing. They're cheering. They're doing these things. They deserve your attention. Otherwise, go to YouTube, which is nothing wrong with that, but go to YouTube. If you want to not interact with the community, go to YouTube.
Yeah, so let's talk about the ups and downs, because streaming is very up and down all the time, every day, every time you stream. Are there, even you're at this level where you're about ready to go full time, are there days where you just don't have as many people there in
Oh
chat?
God, yeah.
And how do you handle that? What do you do? What are some tips for people who just don't have anyone there in chat? How do you get your mindset?
Mhm.
Because it can be demoralizing if you don't
Yep.
come in with the correct mindset.
It's happened to me even in the last 2 months since I announced going full time. I've had some really great streams where I've hit a lot of viewers, and then I've had nights where it's hovers around 15. And I don't want, if I want to preface that by saying that's not bad. Like a lot of people are going to be like 15, that's great. 15 is not bad, but if you're going full time, you're going to need more than 15 people watching you. So those nights where I hit 15, it definitely is. Oh wow! I already announced that I'm going full time. I'm already raising money. I only have 15 people in the room tonight. Like this isn't looking good. But then you need to kind of like stop yourself and think, why did this happen tonight? Like, what did I do either wrong, or what was wrong about the situation? Was it the night? Was it the time? Was it the game I was playing? Uh, did I use the wrong tags? Did I use the wrong hashtags when I tweeted out? Like, there's so many aspects to streaming more than just the stream itself. You need to take advantage of social media. You need to take advantage of your Discord community and this and that. So there's a lot of aspects where you might have done something wrong that night that you might be able to tweak or do better. So instead of thinking, oh, I suck, like nobody wants to watch me, think, oh, why was this night an outlier? Why was this night lower? And try and figure out if there was a reason for it and if you can correct that. Because a lot of times you might be surprised. It might be something as simple as, oh, Game of Thrones was on tonight. Like not that was the case, but something might have been going on that night. Maybe there was a huge event going on Twitch on the front page. Just because you were lower one night doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to continue or that you did something wrong. So don't let it bring you down. You kind of have to push through those moments and think about if there's a way you can correct it. And sometimes it just happens.
Yeah. And so how do you handle, okay, right now, Andrew, you're streaming. There's 10 people in chat. It's just a low night.
Yeah.
How do you interact with those people? How do you handle it? Because is it an opportunity to connect to a deeper level with those 10 people?
I think a little bit of both. It depends on if those people are chatting for sure. Sometimes you just get those 10 people and those 10 people aren't really chatters. But I don't think you ever want to get to that place where you think the chat is not scrolling. So nobody's in here. Nobody's talking to me. So I'm not going to talk. I'm just going to play. This is just me. And I'm just one streamer. So I don't want to act like I know everything. But even when that happens and the chat kind of slows to almost a crawl, I talk to myself. I talk out loud about what's going on in the game, but I don't try and do it in I guess an awkward way. You want to almost be commentating on what's happening, and you want to try and almost pull somebody out of the chat. Like pull them in, get them to come out of their shell if they are a lurker. And you can do that by just trying to be entertaining, of course, or maybe every 15 minutes you do take that moment to be like, hey guys, slow night here, but I'd love to talk with you guys. I see there's 10 people in the chat. I'm Andrew. I stream here 5 days a week. I'd love to talk with you guys. This channel is all about community. It's all about building community. So if you have any desire to talk with me, I'd love to talk with you right now. And then maybe you get one person who says something, and then that's it. You got a person to talk to, and then maybe some other people chime in as well because they saw somebody else talking.
Yeah. No, great tips. Great advice. So what overall has been the biggest challenge? This is a 4-year journey that you're on. You're about ready to go full time. What is by far the biggest challenge?
I think the challenge has been getting stuck on that plateau. I think for us was the biggest, like, what can we do? Because I remember the last time I was on the show, it was probably leading up to the partner spotlight. We were about to have.
I think it was a week, maybe 2 weeks before the partner spotlight.
And for the longest time, we thought that was going to be our moment, right? Like we were like, the partner spotlight will get on the front page for 8 weeks, like for 2 hours each of those 8 weeks. Like, how can we not have a huge benefit from this? How can we not have community growth from this? But I'll be honest with you, it didn't really result in much growth. And here's the reason for it. When we were on the front page, people watched from the front page and they didn't come to our channel. They just watched from the front page. And we did everything we could. We did giveaways. We did this and this. And we tried to pull people. We're like, guys, we understand you're watching from the front page. We understand it's convenient, but come in here. This channel has the best community you'll ever find on Twitch. I promise you, it's just the most welcoming positive community. Come in here and chat with us. And we would get a few people here and there, but literally thousands of people were just watching from the front page and not following us, not coming to the channel. And it turned out to be really, really cool. It was like we were on the front page. People saw us on the front page, but ultimately, wow, that didn't really do a lot for us. Like, we're back to the drawing board. Like, what are we going to do? Like, how do we make it? And I think that was when I decided, like, the only way is going full time. The only successful streamers are the ones that are full time, that can dedicate themselves to 30 to 40 hours, be there consistently, and really take advantage of that. You just, that's the way it seemed like it had to be in order for us to really get off that plateau. And the plateau was, you know, us at 10,000 plus followers and doing well. So I'm not going to pretend that we weren't happy with our state, but you always want to be climbing, right? So we were just trying to figure out like what the next step for us was. So that was a real challenge, because we really thought that for a moment that there was nothing we could do. And at that time, the full-time streaming idea was still a pipe dream, in all honesty. I really didn't think it was something I could do, because I didn't think Kristen would go for it, in all honesty. Like, it's a huge risk. And when I talked with her about it, I have to say, like, she was so supportive of me.
That's fantastic.
Because I think after 4 years of putting her through it, you know, all the late nights and whatnot, she knows how important this is to me. And she was on board. And I even talked with family members, because I wanted to make sure that it wasn't just her on board. I wanted to make sure my parents thought it was okay, and her parents thought it was okay, and this and that. And everybody was so supportive, because, and honestly, not even just supportive, excited. They were excited for me, because they understood, like, this is your dream. Like, this is what you want to do. And maybe it doesn't become your full-time career ultimately, but you get to do this for a year potentially and have a great time and say you tried it out. And that's all you need. And honestly, if that's what happens, cool. I got to do it for a year and give it my full shot and see what happens, you know?
Yeah, no, that's so exciting. That's such a great attitude to have. Right now, you're balancing work, you're balancing streaming, you're really making a hard push on streaming. Tell me about, so you're working 40 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
How many hours of that week is spent streaming? And then something that a lot of people don't realize, how many hours is spent in preparation?
There's more preparation than streaming, in all honesty, for me. But I'm a little bit of a different situation, because we do talk shows. A lot of people they jump online, they tweet out their stuff, they do all their social media, and they're on and they're streaming. So that's the big part of their day, of their streaming career. For me, it's always been talk shows. And I probably put about 10 to 15 hours of work into the talk show each week, and just searching for stories and building videos and this and that. It's probably gone down over time, because I have found my templates. I've created all my templates, and I've tried to streamline things as much as possible. But whenever that happens, I try and think, okay, what can I do in that extra time? If I've saved time by creating these templates, what can I do to spice up the production value or do something cool and interesting? One thing I started recently, we do something called Staggers on our channel, because obviously we get tips and all this kind of stuff. And sometimes people do $50 tips. They do these ridiculous tips, and we wanted to do something cool for those people that go above and beyond, more than just, they get a cool audio hook or something.
Sure.
So what we decided is, if you tip exactly $33.33, it puts us into a staggered state. And if any guy who's played RPGs, I think, knows, like, stagger is when the enemy, their defenses are lowered because you did a critical attack or something on them, right? And their defenses are lowered for a certain amount of time, and so on. So for us, we've got that prize wheel. Every time somebody supports the channel, they get a spin of the prize wheel, they get XP or this and that. But if you stagger, this cool animation happens, and literally on the show or on my game stream, I get attacked by a magical attack. I put up a force field, and I created all this stuff in green screen effects, and using this new Elgato Stream Deck I've got over here, I've got all these hotkeys and visual effects. So literally, it looks like I'm being attacked from off screen by this magical attack, and I'm putting up a force field, and then I get overcome by the attack, and a HP bar goes above my head. And for a minute, people have lowered my defenses. So no longer is it $5 to get a spin of the wheel. It's now $1. And it's this cool thing where somebody gets to start this for one. There's one person that gets to be like, I'm going to be the one to start the stagger with $33.33. And then all of a sudden everybody comes in full force, 100 bits here, $1 there. And it's just like, it's just this really cool moment where everybody comes together to support the streamer, which is obviously amazing. I support that so much. But on top of that, it's everybody gets to kind of have a part in this cool thing that just happened. So those are the kind of things like when I'm always thinking of what can I do to separate my stream. Once again, going back to that, like I've never seen this before. I've never seen anybody do like an animation where they're being attacked and it does this and that. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to make it really visually impressive, and I'm going to try and get attention in that way. And that's something I can do to fill in maybe time I saved by doing templates on the video creations on Sunday. So I'm always working, honestly. If I would say 20 plus hours a week, I'm working on the show. And I'd say a good 10 plus of that is creating things, just trying to improve the quality of the stream, improve on the ideas that we have. If you never want to settle.
Yeah.
I think if you get into that mood where you're settling and you're just stuck in a groove, I think that's when you're going to stay stuck on that plateau. You've got to always be thinking like, what's next? Because if it's your career, especially, you've got to adapt to the times. Like when somebody like a Dr. Disrespect comes in and takes over Twitch, or a Ninja comes in and takes over Twitch, like you need to learn from those moments and be like, what am I going to do now to grab some attention? It's an ever evolving thing. You're never done.
Yeah, if you don't take anything else away from this, everyone out there in Radio Land, if you don't take anything else away from this, take away that quote. You never want to settle. There's a great quote by Denzel Washington that reminded me of. I don't know if it's by Denzel Washington, but he said it in a speech, and he said, "Ease is the biggest threat to progress." So you never want to settle. You always want to be pushing for it, and that's how your stream gets better. You get more efficient with your setup, so you have more time and so on and so forth. Great advice. Okay, one more kind of serious question, and then we'll get to the fun stuff.
Okay.
Sacrifice. Yeah, everybody watches Ninja and says, "Oh man, look at 125,000 subscribers. Look how many people's in his chat. Oh my goodness, look at what he's doing. He got so lucky. Oh, look at, I wish I was that lucky." Nope. They see the end product. What they don't see is the years of sacrifice that goes into that. What have you sacrificed in your streaming career?
Yeah, I mean, going back to Ninja, that guy's been streaming for 7 years, guys. He's been around since Justin.tv. Like, he's been around since the very beginning. He has sacrificed a lot, and I can say that I've definitely sacrificed a lot, and my wife has sacrificed a lot. As I said earlier in the stream, like I literally leave her in bed 3-4 days a week to sleep by herself, so I can come down here and stream. And it's not something that she's ever going to be fully okay with, because it's a big sacrifice, and that's time that I would like to spend with her too. It's tough because I want to do both, and I feel like I'm being pulled in multiple directions sometimes, because I so desperately want this to happen. I want to make a career out of this, but I don't want to lose time away from my child and this and that. And that's why I do it late at night. Like, I don't want to take any time away from the prime hours of the day or the night when I can spend time with them. And that's why I relegate that time to late at night. It's the only way I can do it. I get 4 hours of sleep at night, like that's what I have to do. I put in 60, 70 hours a week on, when you add on the 40-hour a week plus a week job that I have as an architect, at 70 hours a week, that I'm working on that and on streaming. And on top of that, it's a lot of energy. A lot of people just think, oh, you're just streaming, you're playing games, you're having fun. You're having fun. Don't get me wrong. People wouldn't do it if they weren't having fun. But it's exhausting, man. You're an entertainer. You're not just a streamer. If you're just a streamer, you're not going to make it. You have to be an entertainer. You need to have a good time with your chat. You need to make them feel like they're watching more than just somebody playing a game. And that takes a fair amount of energy. You need to be always on. And that's what I decided when, like earlier, I said this year was going to be the year where I go full in, right? I decided, like, I'm never going to have that moment where I'm tired and I'm going to become more quiet, or I'm not going to be full energy. It's like, no, every moment I'm streaming, I need to be full energy. I need to be the best version of myself on stream. And that's a lot to ask of somebody. And honestly, and I feel bad. I'll watch some streamers and you can tell they're having, maybe they're sick or they're just having a down night. And sometimes the chat will be getting on them and this and that. It's like, I don't think some of you understand. Like it's tough sometimes. It really is tough to stay at that level all the time, to just be on all the time. It's a lot to ask of somebody. And I think people like are just like, dance, monkey, dance. And it's like, like these are people. Like these are people that are taking time of their day and they're trying to entertain you. They're doing the best they can. It's a lot to ask sometimes,
Yeah. All right.
Sacrifice.
I know that's one thing that I think a lot of people just don't realize, that, you see the end. I mean, we all do it. We see the end result and we're like, oh man, he got so lucky. Well, maybe sometimes it is luck, but most of the times, 9 times out of 10, it's a lot of time, a lot of dedication, and a lot of sacrifice. And we don't get to see that on our end. So what has been your favorite all-time game to stream that you've ever streamed, that it just everything came together, you loved it, it was a blast, you were enjoying yourself, chat was enjoying yourself? Wow. If you could have that every night, what game gave you that experience?
There's been several that really pop up, and for really different reasons though. And like the first one I'm going to say is going to seem so bizarre, like why would you choose this game? But The Witness. Which is a really slow puzzle game, right?
Yeah.
But it was one of the first games I streamed when I decided I was going to do 4 days a week variety game streaming and really start trying to build the channel into more than just a talk show channel. It was very early on in that. And I'm streaming late at night, right? I'm streaming at midnight. And I decided I'm going to do The Witness. I'm just going to put on song requests and I'm going to play the music people want to listen to. And I'm going to talk with people and we're going to figure out these puzzles together. And it turned into this really like relaxing, soothing experience that got a lot of viewers. People loved it. They kept wanting me to play the game every time. They're like, play The Witness, play The Witness, play The Witness, because it was just chill and nice. And I there's nothing in that game besides the puzzles, right? So I was 90% chat, 10% game that night. I was talking with the chat. We were having full conversations and sharing stories. So that was great because I got to connect with the community in a really big way playing that game. And on top of that, I think that is one of my favorite puzzle games I've ever played at this point. I love The Witness.
Yeah.
So that one's the first one to pop into my mind. Okay. Another one is I've never been a horror guy. Never. For one, because when I typically would play horror games before I was a streamer, I would play them by myself.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I just couldn't. And then I realized streaming horror games is amazing because you've got this community behind you, to kind of build your as like emotional support almost, I guess you could say. Like, even though and I don't have it's not dark in here either. That helps. So I've got the lights on no matter what. But being able to play a horror game and actually get through the whole thing and have the chat having so much fun with it. I think Resident Evil 7 was the first horror game that I ever went all the way through, streamed, and I think I have my favorite clips from that game. Have you ever played Resident Evil 7?
Oh yes, I have.
That beginning with what was her name? I'm trying to think of the girlfriend's name. I'm drawing a blank on it.
I don't remember either.
But you remember that part where she comes out with the knife and stabs?
Man, yeah.
I swear, man, the clip of that is my favorite I think I've ever had.
Your entire experience in that house at first is just the creepiest. So creepy.
Yeah. I loved that moment. I loved the clip button, man. We have like a command in chat more than just you have to click on the clip button. You can just type in !clip. And I swear it was just exploding with that command because so many clips came out of the moments. And the best part of it all was it was 100% real terror on my part. Like I was terrified. And I enjoyed the hell out of that. I really had a great time. And because of that, I went on to do Evil Within and then Evil Within 2. And now I'm doing Bloodborne, which isn't horror, but I'm getting into those games more and more now because I'm realizing people really enjoy that for one. Yeah. And I actually enjoy it too now because I get to share it with the community. Cool. I'd say the horror games this past year have been probably the highlights for me.
Very cool. Excellent.
Which is different for me. Definitely different for me.
No, that's horror games are not my cup of tea either. Well, this has been fantastic, Andrew. Thank you so much. Good luck to you we will all be paying attention. We are all rooting for you. Where can people go if they want to donate to your cause, if they want to help you go full time?
Well, I mean, first of all, I appreciate just coming and checking the channel out. Like I say all the time, a lot of people will be tipping $100 sometimes, and there'll be people in the chat saying, "I feel so bad. I'm a kid. I don't have a job," or this and that. And I'm always the same way. It's like, you just being here, watching right now, and talking with us is amazing. Yeah. You're part of this community. You're sharing in it. You're here. That is support all by itself. So if anybody wants to just come and check out the channel, it's twitch.tv/The Level Up Show. As I've said already, our community, I really think, is the most welcoming, positive community I've ever seen on Twitch. And I frequent a lot of channels. I've on Twitch especially, and I can't believe that somehow I've gathered all these amazing people and got them to stick around on our channel. They're just amazing. So you will be welcomed with open arms. Everybody will be happy to see you there. So that's where you can start. And then, we've got all of our different channel links and stuff on our website, thelevelupnetwork.com. You can find our tip jar on there, which is a way you can support the channel. We've got patreon.com/the Level Up Network, the same way you guys have your Patreon and do really well with that. That's a way to routinely support our channel, of course. Of course, what we're really trying to work on right now is bringing in new subs on Twitch, getting our sub count up, getting people to stick around in that way. We've seen amazing stuff happen since sub gifting. I don't know if you know about that on Twitch. You can actually gift subs to somebody else now.
Oh, I did know that
on
actually.
Twitch, and it's insane. There's some people that'll gift 10 subs in a night. Like it's unbelievable, because that's how they think that they're doing their part. Like, I'm not going to tip. I'm going to give a sub to somebody else. I'm going to get your numbers up. I'm going to get you new emotes as a result of that. So it's people are finding ways to support us in a multitude of ways. People are doing artwork for us now. They're writing on our blog. It's unbelievable, the amount of support coming from all these different directions.
Yeah, very cool. Well, he is Andrew. Go check him out. Go check out his channel. Check out his shows. They are all excellent. We are so happy for you. Thank you so much, Andrew, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. I love when I'm on here, and I hope to have you guys on the show again very, very soon. We got E3 coming up. Maybe we got to do our E3 predictions, of course.
Absolutely.
Again. We need to talk about Xbox some more. We didn't get to talk about Xbox at all tonight. So hopefully very, very soon we can talk about that. Wait, you guys are going to E3, aren't you?
We are going to E3.
Oh, that's going to be amazing.
Super exciting.
So maybe before E3 we can get you guys on the show to talk about that. That'll be amazing. Good for you guys.
Yeah. No, we're really super stoked about it.
Maybe that's in our future. Not yet, because we're on the East Coast, but maybe sometime we can meet you guys at E3.
Sure, that would be great. That'd be great. Anyways, well, thank you very much, Andrew.
Thank you.